Meanwhile, me and a guy named Corporal Falla, has Corporal Falla been introduced to you guys yet?
I think, I don't have him on my list, but I believe I've met him briefly.
Corporal Falla is a fluent Arabic speaker. He was born in Jordan. He's Palestinian. His parents immigrated to the U.S. His father did when he was like 15. He went to high school in California. Then he joined the Marines when he was like 18. Ended up in Lima Company.
Okay, I did meet him. Did you spell his name or do you?
Fallah.
Okay.
And Falla was a phenomenal resource because he's a fluent speaking Marine. So this gives me like a lot of, like, I can do a lot of stuff other platoons can't do because I have Falla who speaks fluent Arabic. So the squad leaders take their squads and they start setting up their OPs that are going to overwatch this. And we're basically doing like, you know, a defense where we've got like overlapping fields of fire, all this type of stuff, standard Marine Corps stuff.
So they actually, what you mean by is they just start hardening the buildings they're in? Are they actually one squad per building, or are there
one squad per building? Oh, in a triangle, overwatching the school in the middle.
Okay.
As we're setting this up, it's early in the morning. The emphasis is to get the school hardened because that's where the Iraqi platoon and the election workers, civilians are at. So myself, Falla, and Doc McIntosh make like a headquarters unit, and we're running back and forth from the school to 3rd Squad and 2nd Squad. Staffs aren't linked with 1st Squad in this building, so they're kind of like on autopilot. So me and Doc Mac and Corporal Falla are running back and forth from 3rd Squad's OP to the school to make sure that it would get set up. Because Iraqis are still like in their infant stage and they don't have like really strong leaders. So we're down there, I'm talking with the Iraqi major, who's the company commander, but it was just a platoon. It was like a company commander with a platoon there. And we're telling them like, hey, we need to harden this, we need to do this. And me and this Iraqi major were coming up with a plan to harden this building. But we're on like a strict timeline to get this thing hardened because we're in an area where we're fairly sure we're going to get hit, hence the name IDO.
So this is still 0 Dark 30 at this time?
Yeah, this is still like 04. So as we're starting to get set up, we have a PLS truck here, and it's important to note, we know we're going in here for over 72 hours. We're going in for 3 days. So as we're getting set up, they drop off this PLS truck with 2 Army drivers, 2 Army Reservist drivers with me. I just tell them, hey, park the truck next to the school, and then you go with 2nd Squad. Leave the truck there, it's going to be overwatched by all these other guys. So as we're getting set up, I'm telling Corporal Falla, we need the Iraqi Army, to go out and start getting sandbags, to start moving the sandbags to the school to start loading up. As this is going on, it's not happening. Like, friction is coming into play. They're just not, it's not working. So me and Corporal Falla grab some Iraqis and we go outside, and I'm pointing at them like, get the PLS truck, take the sandbags off the PLS truck and pull them in. And like Falla's saying this in Arabic, Doc Mac's with us. I know very limited Arabic, but I know enough to be like, hey, you know, Surah, like hurry up. Falla goes back inside. Me and Doc Mac are like helping orientate this Iraqi Army squad to get the sandbags off the PLS truck. As this is going on, all of a sudden you just hear like it's just like a boom, just like the loudest explosion I've ever heard in my entire life. All I remember is just like the sound and then like a ping, like, and then the entire place went black. It was like somebody turned off the lights. Well, right, like here's the PLS truck, here's a road, here's a school, here's a courtyard wall around the school. Me and Doc Mac are right here. There's Iraqi armies like spread out around here getting the truck. an IED goes off, like, no shit, 5 feet from us. Like, so there's like Iraqi army guys spread out all over, me and Doc Mack against the courtyard. IED goes off. Just loudest explosion I ever heard. And it's like, I'll never forget that, like, pain, like, because, like, it shattered my eardrums, right? Me and Doc Mack get, like, thrown up against the building. It was literally 5 feet from us. And it's the dynamic I explained earlier. Like, the IED was there to kill a vehicle, not people. If it was there to kill people, they would have buried it shallower, and the blast would have went outwards. But they buried it deeper, so the blast went up. But it's still like 3 155 shells stacked. Blows up, knocks us up against the wall. And I remember it's just like constant like chaos, like completely black, like just like somebody turned off the lights, and it's all dusty, and I've got like shit all over my face, and my camelback, like when I hit the wall, like my camelback popped open, so I remember like my back was all wet. So me and Doc, so I like shake myself off. I was like, okay, we just got hit by an IED, and Doc Mack was right next to me because he was my battle buddy, and I remember looking at him like, Doc Mack, are you okay? But it was like slow motion, like, Doc Mack, are you okay? And he's like, yes, and he's telling me like, are you okay? And at that point, my initial instinct was to get Doc Mack, my Marine, my corpsman, and get back inside the courtyard, right? So me and Doc, I'm like, we're going inside, but like you can't hear shit because you just got rocked. So as we're running inside, we're like I've taken like 5 steps, and I'm like, oh fuck, like what about the Iraqi army, right? So I turn around, and we see like Iraqi, like there's probably a squad, so like 7 to 10 Iraqi army soldiers just laying in the ground, like in the fetal position. So by this time the dust is cleared. There's a huge, huge hole, like no shit, probably 5 feet deep, 4 feet wide, and there's Iraqi army soldiers laying all around. So like I grab Doc Mack, and I'm like, hey, like we gotta go back and get these guys. And so we go back, and I'm like, get the fuck up, like we need to get in the building. Like look at him, he's not hurt. Okay, you need to get in the building. So I'm like grabbing these Iraqi army guys, like get in the fucking building. And literally some of these guys are in such shock because we were all located right next to it, and the blast was enough to like knock us down, but it was oriented to kill a vehicle, so the explosion went up, right?
No, I understand. The force of the explosion went up.
Yeah, the force of explosion knocked us all down. Luckily, it didn't kill us because it was going up. But it was no shit. I swear to God, it was less than 5 feet from where all of us were standing.
Well, I imagine just the noise itself was probably, if all you suffered from that was just the noise of the blast, I imagine that was traumatic within itself.
Yeah. So me and Doc Mack literally are picking these guys up, like no shit, like kick, like I donkey kicked someone. Get the fuck up, boom, and we're like grabbing guys, no shit, like dragging guys into the compound and throwing them inside. Because like my idea was like I'm gonna get these guys inside the building, then we're gonna assess them for what's going on, right?
Because I assume any minute you're expecting to start taking fire.
Yeah. So we're dragging these guys inside. My platoon is on the radio. They're like, hey, you know, we took the IED blast. I was like inside, like I was right next to it. So we're pulling these guys out. As we pull them out, it's like, you know, prepare for counterattack. Nothing goes on.
So they're not even directed their attention toward y'all. They're too busy looking on the outside.
Yeah, they're looking on the outside. Lieutenant Watson, the company XO, was with us. He was in this building here. And that's why I was kind of, I could focus internally on the Iraqis because Lieutenant Watson was there, staff sergeant next there. I've got strong leaders outside. So my role is kind of like, hey, you get this thing off the ground, like your squad leaders and Lieutenant Watson will got the outer stuff.